All right, then. I think we are all good and we are all set to start with our very first session. And so all right, then let's move. And as all of you can see my screen, everyone can see my screen, right? Everyone can see a PDF open here which says learn, do, and earn. So let's, great. If anyone has an issue, please ping me. I will be very happy to take care of your issue. Yes, how to earn. Of course, once we learn, we of course will earn. One should be, good in technical skills, and of course they will pay. So for earning, of course, Vijay has said first learn. Yes, we need to learn first, then we need to utilize what we have learned to earn, of course. So let's start with our session, the course which is titled Front-End Web Development Fundamentals, and which is delivered to all of you through Acadgild. So let's just give me a sec. Great. So let's move ahead with the brief intro about Acadgild. The CEO is Vinod Dham, and father of Pentium. And it's an educational startup when we provide online training courses in technologies like Android, big data, and of course front-end development and cloud computing. As you can see that it was started by IIT and IIM alumni, and our goal is to impart technical skills to high school graduates, college graduates, and of course the working professionals, so that they can compete in the present day industry market, so that they get current industry level skills, and they can compete for the jobs, and they can get jobs. Yes, so this is what we do and what we impart. So I hope everyone is clear about Acadgild. Any questions, please ping me, and I will be very happy to answer all of your queries. So let's move. So what is the course objective? What we are going to learn out of this course? So we will be, at the end of this course, we will be able to design websites written in HTML. And let me tell you, the full form of HTML is Hypertext Markup Language. And yes, we will be able to style your websites, your web pages using CSS, which is a part of web development, and the full form is cascading style sheets. And we will be able to write the functional part of the web application, and we will be doing that in JavaScript. So as you can see that for any web page, there are basically three things associated with it. One is a simple HTML page, and which is basically the structure, and the second part is the CSS. All right, it's not a full screen, I am sorry. So can you see it now? Okay. All right, thank you, Vijay, for pointing this out to me. So I hope everyone can see my screen very clearly. Okay, great. So as I said, that web is basically, it contains three parts. Any web page contains three parts. One part is the HTML, which gives the structure to the page. And we cannot simply show a structure to anyone. So we have to give it a good design, and that design comes with the cascading style sheets, and it needs to be functional, of course. So we have to write some functional code using the JavaScript. So this is the objective of this course. Do you have any questions? Please ping me. I will be answering your queries if in case you have any question. So I will be, all right. So I will be moving to the next slide. What all modules are we going to cover in this particular course? And we will be covering the HTML. As I said, we will be covering the CSS. We will be learning CSS version 3, and we will be able to write JavaScript. We will learn JavaScript during this course, and we will learn the latest version of HTML, which is the HTML5. So these are the things which we will be getting out of this course at the end. So any questions, please let me know. I will be answering all of your questions. So today is the first session of this course, and it's basically the HTML basics. So today we will be learning the basics of the HTML, and we will also we will not go directly into the HTML, but we will first see what is the base of the HTML, how, because HTML is basically, presented on the internet. So we will see how the internet works and how all these things are put together so that we can see the websites and how all this stuff works over the web. So let's move to the agenda of this today's course, today's session. So today we will be, as I said, that we will see how the internet basically works, how your requests and responses work over the internet, and then we will try to understand the structure of the internet, the framework of the internet, and we will then learn the basics of HTML, like we will see how we can write a simple HTML page, and how that page looks like, and at the end we will be writing a very simple hello world program in HTML, or hello world code. I believe that all of you have written a hello world when writing your first program, whether it be C, whether it be Java, whether it be .NET, C++, ASP, PHP, JavaScript, wherever you go, hello world is, I mean, a kind of everyone is writing hello world. So we will also write the hello world in HTML. So everyone is saying yes. Jason is saying yes. Alvin is also saying yes. So even I have started whenever I used to learn any language, hello world was my first program. Oh, Ritesh has not done it. Ritesh has not done it, but Ritesh, we will make you do it today. So Ritesh, you will be doing it today. So Karthik is there, joining. Karthik, we missed you. I think we missed your introduction, and we missed some more people, Nawazia, but yeah, those we have missed, we will be doing it at the end of the session. So let's move and let's start our very first session, very first subtopic, how the web works. So everyone has a computer, and in today's age, everyone knows how to use the computer. So let me give you a basic example first. Let me start with a basic example. You are having a file, a text file, any document, an image, a Word file, an Excel file. So if you want to access that file in your computer, on your local computer, I must say. So what all you need to do is you go through the path of that file, directly access that path, and you just open that file. Very simple. It's very simple. I hope everyone has done it, not 100, not million, but I must say many times you are following the same. You want to get some file, you have the path, and you go to that file. Now let's assume that your file is on a different computer. So as you can see from this diagram, let's assume that my file is on a computer. For example, my file is on machine 1 and I want to get that file in my machine 2. And let's assume that these two machines are connected with LAN. So they are on network using LAN. So now if I want to access a file from machine 1, what is the first thing that we need? Do you have any idea? Can anyone ping me on chat? What do you need to access any file on machine 1? Address, yes. Yes, we need address. We need IP address. Great. We need IP address. And this IP address will allow us to connect to machine 1. Everyone is perfect. Everyone is saying it correct. We need an IP address. And once you have an IP address, you can hit that IP address from your machine and you can go to others' machine, and if he has sharing enabled, and you will be able to access that document from that machine. So all you need to do is go to the address bar, type in the IP address, and get that file from the other machine. You got it. Perfect. So let's move. This was a very basic example, and I must say that the web works in the same manner. As you said, that to access a file from one computer to another computer, you need an IP address. And the web works in this perfectly the same manner. You have like documents, like we have HTML files, we have styling files, CSS files, images, and we are accessing them actually from one computer to another computer. We access them using the same method like you did, like you accessed a file from machine 1 into the machine 2. In web, we actually follow the same structure. Now, instead of machine 2, we have a software called a web browser, which helps us to connect with the remote machine. And what all we want, what all resources we want, we get it through that web browser. And you need an IP address to fetch the resources, to fetch those files. So we require an IP address here. But it's very difficult to remember the IP address, right? If you are on a local machine, you have to get a resource from machine 1. So in that case, you have just a single IP address. But when you have, a web of computers which are there to serve you, and you want to access some files from different computers, it's very, very, very difficult to remember the IP addresses and get the requested resources. Is everyone with me? Please say yes, say no. If there is any doubt, I would repeat, I will clear. Great, everyone is giving a positive response. That means everyone is understanding what I am trying to say. Okay, so it's very difficult to remember the IP address. So what we have done is we access those computers using a domain name. So for example, Acadgild.com, Google.com, everyone will be using it, Facebook.com and Twitter.com, LinkedIn.com. So they are all the domain names, and basically we don't have to remember the IP address anymore, and it's not our task to remember the IP address. So who takes care of that IP address? Because internally it has to be IP address. We are giving Acadgild.com, this is the domain name, but it actually needs to convert this acadgild.com into the IP address of the Acadgild server. So who does it? There are machines called name servers. Yes, DNS, perfectly. Yes, it's DNS, and it's the task of that DNS to take care of your mapping from domain name into the IP address. And they are basically the name servers. They are cluster of servers. They have the domain to IP address mapping. So whenever you hit any URL using some specific domain name like acadgild.com, it will hit the DNS server, it will fetch the IP address, and it will redirect to that IP address. So any question? Shall we move to the next slide? Say yes, say no, if anyone has any doubt till now. Okay, great, great. Cool. All right, so let's move to the next slide. Great. Thank you so much for your positive response, and we will move. So let's take the example again, like we have to get some resources, some files from a computer which is located in Acadgild. So we will call it an Acadgild computer. So what we need to do is we will not use the Acadgild IP address, and it's not our task to remember the IP address. So we will directly use the domain name which Acadgild has. So here in case www.acadgild.com, we will hit this domain name into our web browser. So this request will go to the DNS server. Yes, you were right that it's DNS who takes care of the mappings from domain name into the IP address. So this DNS server will look for this domain name, and it will map this domain name into the IP address which is assigned to the acadgild.com. Once we have the IP address, the request goes to that particular IP. Oh, full form of DNS is domain name system or server. Great. So I hope Alvin, great Alvin, and thank you Vijay for your prompt response. I really would appreciate. That's really very good. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on to our next slide. Okay, so Alvin wants to know more about DNS. So Alvin, I will give you a little more little intro on DNS. And what DNS does is basically whenever we register a domain name, that domain will be assigned a particular IP address, and which gets stored into the name server. And as I said, that it's a cluster of servers, and whenever we hit any URL, it goes to the DNS server and it looks for the mappings. It has all the entries, like for every domain there will be a particular IP address. It goes to that IP address, it goes to that particular domain name, it searches in that index, and it gets an IP address. And once we have the IP address, it gets routed towards that server. So as Vijay said, to use the Google, and I will also recommend you to go through the DNS server on Wikipedia. And just give me a sec, I'll pass you that link. And whenever you get time, you can just go to that link and no, it will not give the IP address to the browser. It will actually be taken care by a layer called the transport layer. So that will take care of all the routing. The browser has nothing to do with the routing and all those things. Browsers are just meant to initiate the request. It's the so once we have the IP address, it's the internet protocol layers who take care of what to do to that IP address. So for your information, Sam, it's the transport layer which will take care of that IP address. And because there are other layers involved, and we will not go deep into that, but yeah, if anyone wants any information, he can just let me know. I'll give him a quick reference, and he can go through those references and get the concept clear. Right. So Vijay has answered, and I hope everyone is clear about this. So let's move on to the client server. Okay. Thank you so much for your responses, Vijay. Vijay is very good in giving responses to everyone. That's great. Okay. So let's move on. So what is a server? What is a client? So once there is a communication protocol, we have the concept of the servers and clients, not only in terms of computer sciences. We have client and server. It's, I mean, you can map it to your real life situations also. For example, if you are going to a restaurant and you place an order, so the person who will be providing you with that order, he is your server and he serves you, and you are the client. You are making a request for something. So once we talk about the computers, once we talk about the internet, server is basically a machine that provides a service to other machines. That service can be in terms of giving a resource. That resource can be anything. Resource can be a simple text file. Resource can be an HTML file. Resource can be a memory. Resource can be CPU. Any resource, any machine that is able to provide you a resource is termed as a server. And client is a machine that requests a service. Here in our case, for example, the browser will request data to the server, so to the machine wherein that resource is present. So our browser is the client. In internet, the browser is the client, and the machine that serves that request is the server. And in the previous example, machine 2 becomes the client because it was requesting for a file from machine 2, machine 1, and machine 1 is server here. So do you have any questions? I hope it's a very simple concept, and I actually try to brush up your basic concept, and I know everyone is aware of what a client and a server means. So I hope everyone, okay, yes, client makes the request and the server actually responds with that request. Great. So let's move. Let's see what a URL is, and it's very important. Yes, Dattaraj, machine 1 is also a computer. Machine 1 is also a computer. I'll give you a simple example again. If you have a computer and you want to access a file from another computer, so your computer becomes the client, and the other computer, that becomes the server. So you are making a request to the server for a file, and that file is available to you. So that file is being served to you by the server. I hope I answered your question, Dattaraj. Okay, thank you so much. And yeah, keep on asking the questions, keep on asking questions on chat. I am observing, and I will be answering your queries. So let's talk about the URL. The full form of URL is Uniform Resource locator, and example of URL is HTTP, which is a protocol, and then we have a domain name, which is an acadgild.com, and followed by a file which is tutorials.php. So the URL begins with the HTTP. As I said, it's a communication protocol, and just a sec. Okay, so Rakesh, if Rakesh says if anyone has any doubt, the concepts are not clear, please feel free to ask, and we will be trying to clear your concepts. So please feel free to ask. Okay, okay. So Vijay has a question. Which some websites use HTTPS and some use HTTP, although S stands for secure. Yes. So what is the question, Vijay? Okay, the difference. So Vijay, I will be clearing the difference after we will be coming to this in the next slides. I will tell you how does it help, and what are the things that force us to use HTTPS and where to use HTTP. So we will, yeah, thank you, Vijay. So let's talk about the URL. Yes. So let's talk about the URL. So we have basically first the communication protocol. As I said, it can be HTTP or it can be an HTTPS. S means for secure, and we will see that in the next slide. So next component is the domain name, which is an acadgild.com. That's domain name contains two parts. The first one is the name, and second one is an extension. And you will see that extensions vary, like, and they have different meanings. Like if you, it depends on the organization as well, what kind of extension is preferred. There is no such thing with the extension, but it just gives you an idea of the what this company is all about. Like you will see edu, .nic, .com, and there are many other extensions which are available. Right. .in, yes, Jason. .com is a commercial sites, and .in is also there, right? .co, .in, absolutely right. You all are absolutely right. So next we will see what is the actual file which is being requested. Okay, so we will, so here in this case it's tutorials.php, and you will come across some URLs which has no file. So that is basically in those cases the file names are being masked. So from this URL, what we understood is we have to get the tutorials.php from the Acadgild server. So talking more about this file, it's basically a PHP file, which PHP is a server-side language, and you will also see that sometimes you will not see the extensions of the files on the URL, and sometimes you will see that the URLs are different. Like if you see facebook.com and all those things, you will see that the URL is a kind of, we call them encrypted forms. So it's just for the security reasons. So Stabna has a question. What is difference between www.acadgild.com and http acadgild.com? Actually, there is basically no such difference between the two. Whenever you say www.acadgild.com, it will the browser is smart enough that it will automatically append it knows what is my transmission protocol, what is my communication protocol, and it will directly say it will redirect it to the HTTP. And if you say www.acadgild.com, it's one and the same thing. Basically, there is no such difference. Both will redirect you to the same page. For example, if I say, I'll show you here, I hope everyone is looking at my screen. So if I say acadgild.com, it will automatically, I think I have Acadgild, I'm sorry. It will automatically check this domain name, and it will automatically get this. Since we are on an HTTPS, so it automatically got the HTTPS. These things are taken care by the browser, and it will get the proper communication protocol for us. So Shabna, I think, is it clear, or do you need some more clarification on this? Oh, Shabna is saying, is there any performance difference? So it basically is, if it's basically, if we try to fetch something using www. A transmission protocol is important. Whether you give it or not, it has to be there. So it will automatically see that this is the transmission protocol, HTTP. And if you are giving it explicitly, that also doesn't make any difference. So even if we don't mention the HTTP here, it has to be the HTTP, because HTTP is the only protocol which makes a request to the server. So if there is no HTTP, that is there implicitly with the domain name or with the request. Did I answer your question? Okay, thank you so much, and great. So let me know if anyone has some more questions, and I will be closely watching your chat messages, and we will take that ahead. So this is the URL. So I hope that everyone is able to understand now different parts of the URL and what they represent. Now let's see what HTTP basically means. As I said, that HTTP, it stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And it's basically used by the internet to transfer requests and responses from the client to the server. And it also has it also defines how messages are formatted. Once we make a request, it's not like a request has a certain pattern which needs to be followed. So that request gets formatted, that has headers, that has some flags which needs to be inserted, and it's transmitted over the channel. And that channel is nothing but your TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, and which is a connection-oriented channel. Okay. All right. So Vijay gave a uniform resource locator URL. Thank you, Vijay, for updating everyone. So let's move on. That HTTP defines what actions a web browser needs to take, and it also gets the response from the servers. And once we enter any URL, as I said, that if it's not without HTTP, it will still send an HTTP command to the server, and it will request the server to fetch the requested resource, and get that response back to the client. In the previous example, if we see that here in this case, we were hitting the acadgild.com over the HTTP. This acadgild.com server will be hit using this HTTP protocol, which is the communication protocol, and it will get the tutorials.php in response, and it will process that tutorials.php and send a response back to the client, and which in this case will be HTML. So HTTP is also called a stateless protocol. There are basically two different kinds of protocols, which is a stateless and a stateful protocol. So HTTP makes a request and disconnects the connection. So how HTTP basically works is HTTP makes a connection using the TCP, which is a transmission control protocol layer, and TCP is a stateful protocol. So what does this stateless and stateful mean? I'll try to make you understand. Stateless means that the connection does not, the connection is not maintained, while as a stateful means a connection is maintained as long as you are using something. Let me give you a simple example. You are making a phone call to someone, and let's assume that the protocol which the telephone uses is called TCP. So once you make a call to someone, you do not hang up until you are done. So if you hang up in between, the connection is broken, so you cannot proceed with that call. So that is a stateful protocol wherein both the ends need to be connected. So now let's relate it with the HTTP. Now, once you made the phone call to someone, he will of course remember what you said. He will not forget what you said. Okay, that is basically HTTP, how HTTP works. HTTP uses the TCP to make a connection. It breaks the connection, it recreates the connection, gets the response, breaks the connection. So this is called a stateless protocol, wherein the connection is not maintained at all. So anyone has any doubt on this? Please ping me here, or was I able to make everyone understand what a stateless and stateful protocol means? Alvin, not clear. Okay, Alvin. Anyone else? Anyone else? All right. I will repeat it for you, Alvin. So I hope everyone will also follow. HTTP is a stateless protocol. What a stateless protocol does is it does not maintain the connection with the server. So for example, if we want to get tutorials.php from acadgild.com, once this request is made over the HTTP, it requests and it breaks the communication channel. I mean, it will use the TCP, which is the transmission control protocol, to make a communication with acadgild.com server. Once acadgild.com server gets the request, the connection will be broken down. The connection is not maintained. So once the response is ready, it will establish a connection again using the TCP to get that response. So all I want to say is HTTP protocol does not keep the connection alive all the time. And that's why it's called stateless protocol. So, okay, the connection is, once a request is made, the connection is broken. And once a response is there, the connection gets established again. It's basically an end-to-end communication. It's an end-to-end communication. It's basically the work of the internet protocol layers, the transmission control protocol layers who take care of this. So because internet protocol is in itself divided into 5 layers, so there is an end-to-end communication between the 2 layers. So it makes a request, breaks the connection, gives the response, breaks the connection. So this is how HTTP protocol works. Yes, Jason, once the request is made, connection is de-established. I mean, it's not maintained at all. And once the request is given back, connection is created and given back. So yes, any confusion? Alvin, am I able to clear your doubts? Oh, Alvin is giving, is not clear yet. Oh, I hope that I was able to make it more clear, because this is basically to understand all this, we need to understand some different parts from the networking, how the channels work. There is basically a standard given by IP. You can, if anyone wants some more information, he can go to IP, Internet Protocol layers, basically. And there is a, so Internet Protocol suite. So stateful, yes, I will give you an example of stateful. TCP is a stateful. So this is the Internet Protocol suite, which one needs to understand. So there are different layers which are end-to-end, host-to-host layers. So this is all from the networking concept. I was trying to give you a high-level overview of what stateful and stateless means. So just give me a second. I have one more question to answer. All right. Shubho, I don't have any diagrams for this, but yes, I can give you a reference because everything is on internet. You can just have a look to the internet protocol, how the internet basically works. So Shabna has a question. Can you give an example of stateful? Stateful is basically a protocol where the connection is always established. And if the connection is broken, the communication is broken. I gave you an example of a telephone. Once you are contacting someone on telephone, you need to have a constant connection between the two. So that is a stateful. And I think there is one more protocol called UDP, User Datagram Protocol. I need to check. UDP, yes, UDP, and it's a connection-oriented protocol, while as TCP is a connection-less protocol. Just let me check UDP because, yes, the connection. Oh, it's connection. Sorry, I mean TCP. TCP is the one which is a connection-oriented protocol. So this is the protocol wherein the connection is always established. Right, TCP is connection-oriented protocol. Well, and UDP is user datagram protocol. That is a connection-less protocol. So I was able to give you an example of where, yes, TCP is a stateful protocol. Yes, TCP needs to have a connection alive. So if we are using HTTP, it basically uses a TCP protocol to create the connection, and it de-establishes the connection once the request is made. So Shabna, was I able to answer your question? Actually, we need to cover a lot, guys. So I need to be a little quick. Thank you so much. And let's move on to our next, which is the HTTPS, which means that it's a communication protocol over a secure communication channel. And whenever you have some sensitive data or sensitive information to transmit across the channel, we use an HTTPS, and there are beneath some layers which take care of the security. Like there are two famous layers, which is the transport layer security, TLS, and secure socket layer, and they actually help you in encrypting the data before the request is made. For example, if you are doing any bank transaction which has a very critical information, so it should not be passed directly onto the channel, so it has to be encrypted, and that encryption is taken care by secured socket layer or the transport layer security to avoid any misuse of the data which can happen. And again, once you get the response back, it is again decrypted so that you can check your response. If you want to see more on HTTP and HTTPS, please go to the internet. You can have some Wikipedia that will give you a more in-depth understanding of what HTTP and HTTPS is used for. And if you want to go into more in-depth details, please feel free to use the internet and get all the available resources. So can we move to the next slide? Any questions till now? Do we have any questions? No question. Thank you so much. And I hope it's clear to everyone. So let's understand how a request is made and how a request is served. So let's, for example, we open a web browser and we type this URL, http acadgild.com tutorials.php. The first thing that happens is this URL is mapped on the DNS server to get the corresponding IP address. Once that IP is available, the request goes to that IP address, and the server checks that we are requesting for a file which is of type PHP, since this is a server-side file, and it needs to be sent to the PHP interpreter. And once PHP interpreter reads the tutorial.php file, and based on the content of the file, that file can connect to a database or a file system or any other mailing server. Whatever that file is doing, PHP interpreter will do that, and it will get all the data which that file is pointing to. And once we have the accumulated data, that it prepares an output in the form of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And this HTML, CSS, and JavaScript will be sent through the communication channel to the browser that requested the resource, and we will be able to see our result on the web browser. Do we have any questions here? Do we have any questions? Alvin, Vijay? No question. Sam? Karthik? Cool. So let's move. Great. Okay, let's see how this request response cycle worked. We were using a computer, we opened up a browser, we hit the URL acadgild.com. I said that it will create an HTTP request. That request will go to the Acadgild server. The server will process the request. It will execute the server-side code on tutorials.php. It will prepare the output for us, and that output will be sent back as the HTTP response to the client. And that output is basically the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and the client will process that response and display the output. So this is how this request and response cycle works. So now let's understand what are differences between client-side languages and the server-side languages. So the server-side languages have the code that runs on the web server. Like we have examples of server-side languages. We have PHP, we have Ruby, we have Python, we have some other languages like we have .NET, and we have JSP. They all run on the server side. And why do we need them? Because we want to do computations which can be taken care only by the server, and the computations, they are really the sensitive computations and which needs to be taken care by the server only, because server is the overall controller of all the resources. And client-side languages, they execute at the browser. Like we have JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. They are all the examples of client-side languages, and it should not contain a sensitive business logic. Yes, sensitive business logic should not be included as part of the client-side processing. They all need to go to the server side. For example, you are doing the login authentication or some other authentications which have sensitive data, any business critical data which you want to process, that all needs to be done from the server side using the server side languages. And we have a question, I guess, of Nodejs. Okay, Nodejs is basically has two parts. Nodejs we can use for server side as well, but those applications are called mean stack applications. They start with JavaScript, they end with JavaScript. And Nodejs, using Nodejs, you can write the server side code. Yes, you can write the server side code. You can create your own APIs. You can call the APIs, and Node.js has many advantages now into the modern day era, because many languages are going away. I'm answering this question to Vijay, and I hope everyone is able to follow. Vijay has a question, little description on Node.js, and Node.js is also used to be a server for our client applications. Like you can do many things using the Node.js. Apart from doing the server side stuff, you can create your local builds, you can automate your project, you can connect to a MongoDB database, you can create the routes, and many things are there in the Node.js. So if you have want to know more about Node.js, what we can do, I would like you to go to the mean stack and understand what mean stack is basically, where M stands for Mongo, E stands for Express, A stands for Angular, and N stands for Node. So in mean stack, Node.js takes care of the server side, Mongo takes care of the database, Express is basically helps us in developing the server side code. It actually, if we don't use Express, it will be little difficult for us to write the native Node.js code. And AngularJS basically takes care of the front end. So you can just go through this mean. What mean is basically, I think mean, no, I'm sorry, I got a different mean. I got a mean of mathematics. So you can just say mean stack. And this is the full stack JavaScript development, where you can see more about mean stack and learn more about how it does. So Node.js does an asynchronous programming. So that is the best part of Node.js. You make a request. Node.js is not the part of our curriculum, but we will be learning AngularJS in the next few sessions. So shall we move to the next topic? Okay, great. So Vijay, I was able to answer your query, right? All right. So everyone is, everyone is good. Nobody is getting bored, right? Everyone is having a good entho, right? That's great. This is really important. If you love what you are doing, then only you can, learn. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for us. If we get bored because of these sessions, then you will not be able to understand anything. So I'm trying to make this as interesting as possible. Right. All right. So let's try to understand what a language is and what a framework is. So language has a grammar. Shubho has a question. What's the difference between Node.js and AngularJS? Shubho, I will answer your question. Okay, let me answer it now. Node.js, we can take care of the server side, but AngularJS, we can do things on the client side. So AngularJS is a client side. It's not a server side. Node.js is a server side. We can write server side code on Node.js. So I hope I was able to answer your question, Shubho. Great, great. Say yes. Okay. Thanks. Oh, thank you so much for your question, because I really appreciate. Yes, AngularJS, it was developed by a guy named Misko Havry. I don't want to go into that discussion. We will, yes, it is a Google project, right? It's a Google project, and it is in a class of MV star frameworks. So let's first try to finish our session, and what all questions we have, we will take them also. So language is basically, language has its own grammar, language has its own syntax, and language has its own runtime environment. You can say JavaScript, it's a language, PHP is a language, HTML is a language, C is a language, C++ is a language, Java is a language. So what is a framework? Framework is made to make your work easy in a particular language. Let me give you an example. Like if we are working on JavaScript, and there are many things we had to do manually in JavaScript, but as Vijay said, AngularJS, which is a product of Google, it helps us to keep our JavaScript code clean and write a code which is in a form called MVC, Model View Controller. AngularJS is in itself built in JavaScript, and which gives an additional functionality on top of JavaScript. And similarly, AngularJS is a framework. Node.js is a framework which is built on top of JavaScript Backbone.js is a framework. And these frameworks, AngularJS, Node.js, and Backbone.js, they are all designed using the vanilla JavaScript, or we call them object-oriented JavaScript. So I hope that everyone has the difference between a language and a framework. Framework is basically written in a language, but language is having a grammar, a rule, a proper, a grammar which defines the language, a specification. So let's move to the HTML. So HTML stands, as I said, it's a hypertext markup language. It's the only language which the web understands in terms of structure. It's interpreted by a browser, and it's not compiled. Yes, HTML is interpreted, means the code is understood line by line. The meaning of the code is taken line by line, and it's not compiled. Compile means the code is converted into an object code in one shot, like C, your C program, your Java program, they will be compiled, while as HTML is just interpreted. And we create an HTML document using HTML tags. So HTML tags are the building blocks for any HTML document. And it describes the structure of your web page, and how those structures and blocks will be presented. So yes, compilation is source code to OBJ code. You are right, Vijay. Compilation means to convert your source code into a machine understandable code, and that also in one shot. All the code is executed all of once. It's not compiled line by line. You will have an object code in one shot. All right. So while as in interpreted code, each code is interpreted and executed line by line. So this is the big difference between an interpreted language and a compiled language. Do we have any questions on this? Any questions? Okay, shall I move to the next? All right, so let's understand the building block of HTML. How HTML, oh, Jason, you have a question? Please write your question and I'll make sure that I answer your question before closing today's session. So we have the building blocks for HTML. They are the tags. They define the HTML, and the tag is used to define an HTML element, and each tag should be within angular brackets. All right, Jason. Okay, we can move on. Thank you so much. And so the tags, they build the structure. They are basically the keywords that are put into the angular brackets to define your page, to define the elements of your page. And each tag can have an extra information added to it, which is called the attribute. So when we have a tag name which is put within the angular brackets, in that start tag itself, we can give an attribute to give some additional information to that tag name. And a tag name with the attributes and the content, it creates one HTML element, or we call it a DOM element. So this is how an HTML element will look like. It will have a tag name, a starting tag name, a content, and then closing tag name. Some tags are not required to close, but yeah, there are tags wherein we need to close those tags. So, and we need to put in content between those tags. So let's move on. Do we have any question? All right, so we don't have any question as of now. So there's one more message. I need to read it. Examples, yes, Sam, Jason, I will definitely come to the examples in the next part, wherein we will do a small tutorial, a small demo, and I will definitely give you the examples. So this is the basic HTML syntax of how an HTML page looks like. When we are writing any HTML, when we want to create an HTML page, we need to put it within the HTML tags, and all is on small caps. And let me tell you one more thing. This is a case insensitive language. So even if you say capital HTML and small HTML, there is no difference between the capital and the small letters. So if you see other languages like C, JavaScript, of course, they have a difference between the capital and the small. So whatever code we are writing on the page, it needs to be within the HTML tags. So this will be, so there are two parts of an HTML. One is the head part, which I am highlighting here. This head part contains the title of your HTML page. It contains the additional information like CSS files. It contains metadata. It contains many things which we will be exploring in the next coming sessions. And this is the body tag, wherein you will have all the content which will be displayed on your page. So I hope everyone is, this is the high level syntax of writing the HTML. So do we have any questions on here? No. Okay, let's move on to some of the basic tags which we see here. Like this is H, N, and N ranges from 1 to 6. We can have different headings from H1 to H6. So this is to make your text bold, and we will see that some of these tags have been deprecated in the newer version of HTML5. In order to make your text bold, we put it within the bold tags. In order to make your text italic, we put them within the italic tags. In order to make your text a center aligned, we put them into the center tags. The P means a paragraph tag, BR means a break tag, wherein we put a new line, HR means horizontal line, and we have an image tag wherein you can put images, and A is a hyperlink anchor tag. So we will try to use all these tags in the next coming example. So you can, we will use these tags one by one, and before doing anything, I think we will just do one basic example on tags and what we have learned so far. Let's create a folder, call it day 1 tutorial. We will go into that folder. Please ping me if you have any issues, if you face any issues, any questions, and please let me know. So what we will do is we will create a new text document, and we will call it for example, we will call it index.html, as we are creating an HTML file, so it needs to end with .htm or .html. But I think I did it wrong. Let me actually delete it. Let's create a new text document. It has basically the extension .txt. So I'll show you what to do. Let's open it directly in Notepad. I will click here, file, I'll save it as, I'll call it index.html. You can even put it in double quotes. Okay. Now we have the index file here, and you see that it's an HTML file, and the default program wherein we should open it is a Google Chrome, but we will not open it directly in Google Chrome. We will open it in any editor of your choice. You can open it in Notepad, you can open it in Notepad++, whatever editor you are comfortable with, you can open it. For the time being, we will open it with Notepad. Someone has a question. How is Alvin, do you have any question? Oh, you are talking about the editor? I have not used it, honestly speaking. I have used, you can use brackets. That is what I have used. I have used WebStorm. I have used Notepad++. So whatever editor you are comfortable with, you can open it in that editor. But yes, Sublime Text, it's also one of an amazing text editor, and Sublime Text is also an amazing text editor. I really like that. So let's open this file in a simple Notepad for this for now, and let's try to implement what we have learned so far. As I said, whenever you are writing any HTML, it needs to be within the HTML start and end tag. So this is your HTML, and it's always better to indent your code. Like, we should always put tabs so that we get to know which is placed where. So like, as I said, that the next thing I will do, one thing, I will increase the font here so that everyone is able to see. Is everyone able to see? Oh, Sublime. Yes, Sublime is very good. Great. Okay, let's move on to the next. The second thing we have here is a head tag, and within this head tag, we put in lot many things. We put in the first very simple thing that we put in here is the title tag, and we will say title, my first HTML page. Yes, this is my first HTML page, and this is the title of my application. Yes, indentation improves readability. Great. And it's a very good programming habit, because if someone else is reading your code, he will be able to understand what you are trying to write, what you have written. And there are many things which we will learn. We will learn commenting. We will learn lot many things. So we will go to the body. Now we will define the body of this document. So we will close the body. So whatever you do, you have to open the tag and close the tag. So as I said, this is my title. I open this title and I close this title. I will save it. I will not do anything. I will just save it. I will go here and I will open this index.html txt. Let me close everything here. Now let me open it. Now we have not done anything, only the title appears here as my first HTML page. So in the body, I will use different tags. I want to put a heading here. So I'll write H1. So welcome to HTML. So I will close this H1. I will save this document. And as I said that we can open this document in any web browser and it says welcome to HTML. As I said that your headings can range from H1 to H6. So this is the heading 2. So you can close it like this. And this is the heading 3 and so on. You can create different headings based on the need. And if we save it, go to the web browser and you will see that these headings, this is heading 1, this is 2, this is 3, and as you move down, the size gradually decreases. So you say heading 4 and this will be your heading 4, and you need to of course close the heading. So once you go here and you will see that this is the heading 4. So all right, so we have created the headings. So I want to put a line here. So as I said, I can create an HR. So this tag is in the, it creates a horizontal line, basically horizontal row. So it has inserted a horizontal line. So I want to let's close these things and let's say welcome to HTML. Why use space for typing? You mean this space? The spaces are basically, I want to make my code readable actually, so that code is clean. Thickness of line, basically we don't use HR. I will tell you many things. We don't basically use HR. This is just an HTML tag, but we will not use it. Yes, we will not use it as we move along. So what are the other tags that like I want to write something, we can put a paragraph, and this is my test, P-A-R-A, paragraph. This is the spelling. Yes, this is my test paragraph, and if you save it, go here, save the, this is my text paragraph, but I want this paragraph to be bold. So what I'll do, I will put this within the bold tag, and I will of course close this bold tag. So I save it, go here and refresh it, it will bold your paragraph. Similarly, if I want to write like this, the formula for water is H2O. Let's see how this appears. So this is the second paragraph I have created, and save it, go here, and it says H2O, but we know that this 2 should come down. So this is basically a subscript. So if I want to make this 2 as subscript, I'll put this within the subscript tag, save it, and this subscript tag will see that there is a content here. So I need to subscript it. It already has a predefined meaning in HTML. So it says the formula for water is H2O. And I want to write another paragraph. The I'll say 2 square equals 4. So I will close this paragraph. I will save it and I will go here, but I want to move this 2 up, called the superscript. So I'll go here again, I'll say super, and I will close this super. If we don't close this super, it will take everything as a superscript. So save it, go here, and it says 2 square equals 4. So it is really necessary that you know where to close your tags. So if I save it and go here again and refresh it, it has completely changed the meaning. So once we are using a tag, we need to put in the closing tags at the right places. Yes. So let's understand one more tag, which is an image tag. Image tag should have a source which says where to, which image to show here. So for example, I will go here. I have one sample image from code examples. I will take this image, I'll call it pic, and I'll go to my tutorials for day one. I'll paste it here, and this is pic.jpeg. So I'll say source is pic.jpeg. It's a JPEG image. See, I will not close the image. This is a self. Okay. All right. So basically, it didn't come because there is a space in this day one tutorial. I'll try to remove this space. That's why I'm all right. So let me see now. All right. So actually, I need to close it back. I need to go day one tutorial index.php, and this image is not loading. Okay, I think there is a problem with the path pic.jpeg. Let's give pic. Okay, there's a problem. I need to close it basically. Save. All right. I actually changed the file path there. All right, let me open this again in Notepad. I want to finish this quickly, and so that we can. All right. So we have pic.jpeg source. All right, so let's go here and run this image, and need to see why this is not coming. Sometimes we need to give the proper file path. Yes, it is not JPEG, it's JPG. So we need to be extra cautious about the, yes, I think JPEG is not acceptable. There should be only a 3-character extension. Is everyone with me? Say yes, and we will finish up. We will finish up. And like I said, that there are other tags, anchor tags, and those anchor tags are basically used to create different links. And I will give you a basic example of anchor tag, how anchor tag is structured, because you all have assignments to do, and I hope that everyone will be able to finish their first assignment. So anchor tag basically creates a link to other pages. So anchor tag has a hyper href, which is the, sorry, it's href, hyperlink reference. So I want this to go to google.com. So this is the URL where I want this link to go, and here I will put the text what to show in place of that anchor link. So anchor tag, as I said, this is the anchor tag, and as I said that there are attributes, so you can now correlate what we read about the tags, that a tag has an additional information, which is the attribute. A tag has a closing tag. For image tag, closing is not required, but for some tags, closing is very much required, as I have shown you here in case of Subscript and the Superscript. Let's save this. Let's go to our page. Let's hit the refresh. Let's move down, and you can see a Google link appears here. Once we click, it didn't go because it takes this static path also. So in order to make it work, I will provide the protocol also, so that it doesn't append my static path. So if we go here, sorry, we'll refresh it. Now if we go down, click on Google, and it will take you to the google.com, because when we are on the when we want to hit a same resource on a same server, we will provide directly the link. But if we are on some server and we want to redirect to some other server, we need to provide the complete URL. Otherwise, it will end up appending its own path. As you have seen here, we only provided pic.jpeg because the index file and the pick file, they are in the same folder, and we are not, if we are working in the same directory, we don't need to, give the complete path of any resource. So here is an example of google.com, a link which we have created, and there are many tags which we will be covering in the next sessions. Yes, we can control everything. We can control the image size, we can control the structure, layout, we will control everything. And of course, we will definitely learn how we can control, we will use different attributes, height, and yes, as he said, BR is, if we put a BR here, BR tag, as we have already mentioned this tag, so it will come below the, what's it called, so it will go below this. So we will learn all the structure as we move ahead in the next sessions, and we will do many things, many amazing things, I must say. So I just want to give you a brief intro about Doctype tag. So Doctype tag is the first tag. It's actually not a tag, basically. Doctype is basically there wherein a browser gets to know what kind of page is this. If for a doctype, we need to have a doctype definition. So doctype tells the browser about the page, and as it's written, it's not an HTML tag. It's just to tell the browser about the version of HTML. So in the previous versions of HTML, like HTML 4.0, there are 3 types of doctypes. One is strict, transitional, and frame set. In strict doctypes, we cannot use presentational or deprecated elements like font. There is a font element, we cannot use it in strict. In transitional, we can use deprecated elements, we can use font, while as frame sets are not allowed. In frame sets, we can use deprecated elements as well as frame sets. So we will, if you want to see how this doctype looks, I have created an image of that already. I have taken a screenshot for that, and we will see how that doctype basically definition looks like. So this is the doctype definition, and this is a strict doctype. It actually, this URL is basically into the W3 org, where your page will be checked against the particular doctype, and it will decide whether it's a valid HTML4 page or not. And on the basis of that, it will decide whether to use font or not. So this is a transitional doctype, how we used to give transitional doctype, and this is a frame set doctype. If you will find this on internet, but I would like to add here, like we will be, when we will jump to HTML5, we don't have to worry about the doctype, because HTML5 eliminated the doctype and said we don't need any doctype. Just, this is just for the information on doctype. And this is the hello world using HTML. I think we have done more than hello world today, but I would definitely like to do one hello world here. Let's say hello world. In H2 will say hello world, so that we get feel that we have used hello world in our program, and that is what we have been doing since we learned the programming. And so I hope that everyone got an idea of how HTML structure is to be laid down and how HTML structure needs to be written. So this is an example of hello world. So it's the time to discuss the assignments. So all of you will have 3 assignments for today. So, and after that, we will come to the questions. Yes, we will come to the questions. So let me first talk about the assignments. So this is the first assignment which you have, and it will be available in your dashboard. And you have to create an HTML page having a paragraph and images. So I believe that, so it should look like this. So I believe that each one of you will be able to do it. Any questions on the first assignment? Any confusions, please ping me. I know that we are, the session was about to finish on 10:30, but since this was the first session, we took some time in introduction, and I hope that everyone is in a good energy. Just few more minutes and we will be done. Can you hear me? Is everyone able to hear me? Great, great. So any question on the first assignment? Any question? No? Shall I take this yes as question? How do we submit assignments? I will please, Rakesh will help you in that. Yes, image needs to come, you will get that image, or I have no issues. If you come up with any page, if you put in your own ideas, I have no issues. I just want you to show me what all you have learned in today's session. So this was the first assignment, and here we go to the next assignment, wherein you have to display HTML page having body, head, and title. So this is the second assignment, a very easy assignment. So it needs to have a title, a body, and a paragraph. And let's move to the third assignment. Okay. This is the third assignment, wherein you need to design which includes superscript and subscript. I have shown it, but I want you to do it again yourself, so that and even if you can put in your own tags, you can, I mean, add up the tags, where if we have covered any tag or not covered any tag, you can include them, and you can try to make it as informative as possible. All right, so Sam wants to make a WhatsApp group, so I would Rakesh will take care of that. And let's move to the fourth assignment. So fourth assignment is HTML page with one sentence, which includes assertion and deletion of text. Yes, I have not shown you this, but I would like you to do it. Just try it yourself, and I hope that everyone will come up with a solution to this. And I hope that everyone got to know what all assignments they have. Is everyone okay? Fine. Great. Vijay has already the answers ready. Strike through. Yes, you need to include the strike through. So do we have any questions related to assignments for today's session? No questions at all. Okay, so herein, if you, I want to, yes, we have total 4 assignments. Yes. So here we have some URLs which will be helpful for you to contact Acadgild staff. Datraj, I think Rakesh was able to answer your question. So he will be, please drop an email to support@acadgild.com for any questions. So they will be, you can submit, I mean, I will get it, or you can Rakesh, could you please help them with the assignments? Yes, we will upload the video, everything will be available. And for any queries related to technical things, please always feel free to drop an email to support@acadgild.com. And I hope everyone enjoyed today's session, and it was the first session, and I hope it was interesting for you all and you enjoyed it. And there were a few people who were not able to give their introduction. Do you want, guys, do you want to take the introduction? Because we missed some people. The people who were missed, please ping here who we missed initially for the introduction. As far as I remember, I will give you the mail ID. Dattaraj. All right. So, is there anyone who is still there who joined late for the introduction? Pavan, can you hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right, Pavan. Yeah, you can. I think. Did you give your introduction initially?
Yeah, yes, sir.
All right then, great. So we have not missed anyone. Thank you so much, and I hope that today's session was an interesting one. We will meet again in the next session with more stuff to learn and things to do. So any questions you have before closing today's call, please feel free to. Yes, it's on Thursday. Any other question we have? Okay, thank you so much. Let's close the call for today. Good night, everyone, and see you again on Thursday with the same energy which we had today. Thank you all. Good night. Enjoy and happy